Update. I discovered my wife's family was behind my vicious cyberbullying attack. My wife knew, but she hid it for years. How do I move past this? Original post. My 27 male marriage is in a really bad spot after a deep breach of trust. I don't know how to recover or how to trust my wife, 30 female, again. For some context, we've been together for 7 years and married for 5. We have a 2-year-old son. We met at a convention. I thought her cosplay was amazing, struck up a conversation, and the rest is history. She's the most loving, unselfish, and decent person I've ever met. Our relationship was never without its challenges. Our biggest obstacle was her family. My presence was unwelcome. They're very close-knit, and if one doesn't accept you, then you're not getting far. There are a few family members who broke away from the pack, but no one really acknowledges them. They're no contact and considered black sheep. I didn't know how my wife's family was, but I did know family was extremely important to her. Her whole upbringing was based on family. So I tried everything in my power to make it work. They didn't really accept me until we had our son. Between our wedding planning and shortly before the wedding, I was the target of relentless and vicious cyberbullying. It got personal. Fake bad reviews flooded my business profile too, and it cost me some potential clients. I didn't know where it came from or why. I couldn't find a solution. I'd report it, but it would take a while for anything to be done, or more accounts would pop up for another round. The whole thing impacted my life and my mental health. It took a toll. My wife was incredibly supportive. She was my rock and my best friend. I loved her even more for how she cared for me and held me down. Then the trolling and everything stopped. I wanted nothing more than to move on. I put it all behind me until the other day when my wife confessed that her family was behind the harassment. I didn't believe her at first, but she was serious and showed me proof in their family group chat. It felt like I was right back there again. They were gloating and justifying themselves, saying things like, "Some people gotta learn the hard way," and "If he wants to join the fold, here's his initiation." I knew I wasn't their favorite person, but I never realized they hated me so much that they would go to such extremes. I asked my wife when she found out, and if she was a part of it. She swore she wasn't, and that she'd never do that to me. She claims she didn't initially know it was her family until a few months before our wedding. One of my sisters-in-law, 28 female, left a profile up on her phone, and my wife saw it. She confronted her family and made them stop. I asked why she was telling me everything now. She said it was weighing on her, and she opened up to her eldest sister, 35 female, one of the family's black sheep. That sister threatened to tell me the truth if my wife didn't. Nothing my wife said made it better. She knew for years what her family did and hid it from me. She kept everything quiet. It hurts more coming from her because she knew firsthand how much pain I was in. I was pretty numb. My wife was anxious and kept pushing for me to say something. I told her there wasn't anything she could say right now that would make it okay. What she did was no better than her family. They made my life hell, and her first instinct was to cover for them. She started crying and begged me to understand. She said it wasn't like that, and she was trying to make things right with as little damage as possible, to mend relationships. I wasn't very receptive. She wasn't reaching me. I couldn't help her or myself. I told her I needed some time to clear my head. She was against it. She said we could work through this together, but I was firm on needing space. Space isn't a request she's respected. I'm really trying to understand her side. I'm trying to move past it, but I feel so betrayed. I trusted her more than anyone. I was my most vulnerable with her. I kept opening up to her about the incident, even after she knew the truth. She encouraged me to let it go and not allow it to have any claim on me. I thought she had my best interests in mind. Now I just see it as her attempt to protect her family yet again. I haven't confronted anyone involved. I don't think they're worth it. But I've made it clear they're no longer allowed to see our son until further notice. Now I'm getting texts about how I'm depriving my child of grandparents and aunts over past family spats. One of the hardest parts is the distance from my wife. She's my best friend and partner in every way. Now we're mostly only communicating about our son and other household necessities. She's hurt by my rejection, and she's been crying often. I don't know if I'm being unfair to her. I hate all of this. I want to make our marriage work, but I'm questioning our relationship up to now. I'm just really lost. I need an outside perspective. How do I navigate this situation and move forward for my marriage and myself? Now for the top advice before reading the update. I think what's bothering me most is that your wife is still not getting it. She doesn't understand how vile her family is. And if they did it once, they could do it again. They took your money, your peace of mind, your confidence. Even though she stopped it, she never told you, leaving you to wonder why and who. And past family spats, it's not like this was a little tiff and they apologized, and you won't let it go. I'd suggest therapy for you both. At the very least, you'll learn how to co-parent if you can't save the marriage. Maybe a therapist can get her to see how huge this is. I don't know. It's like my wife's not getting where I'm coming from, or just doesn't want to go there. Her family never even apologized. They're making it out like I'm holding grudges. So her idea of making things right is to lie to you for years, providing cover for the awful, awful people who did this to you. Any decent partner would cut that family off without a backward glance. I am so sorry, OP. You must be reeling. She said she thought she was protecting me and that she handled the situation with her family. I just don't see anything she did was for my benefit. I see it more as she was protecting her family yet again before anything else. Is she going to cut off her family now? She hasn't said anything about that. She's been too flustered with me asking for some space. No solutions have been offered. Now for the update. Thank you to everyone who reached out. I wasn't able to reply to everyone, but it was appreciated. It solidified my wake-up call and helped me see I wasn't overthinking. I wanted to give an update. Earlier this week, my wife and I were able to regroup and hash things out. I'm glad I took the space I did because, even though this situation is still hurtful and feels like a massive betrayal, I was in a better position to talk. My wife thought I was calling it quits, but I told her we were at a crossroads and needed to talk things out. She apologized for what her family did and for her role in it. She said she never intended to hurt me. She had convinced herself she was protecting me from more pain, but she realizes now she was largely protecting herself. She admitted she was afraid to tell me the truth because she thought it wouldn't just end the wedding, but that I'd end the relationship. She's lost other relationships and friendships over her family and didn't want to lose me too. Over the years, she wanted to tell me but kept talking herself out of it. Then the cover-up kept getting bigger, and she didn't know how to confess. I told her I didn't agree with her choices and that I wished she had trusted me and our relationship more. I meant it too. I wouldn't have just ditched her. She asked where we go from here and promised that, no matter the outcome, there wouldn't be any more secrets between us. I told her I wanted to work on our marriage, but things needed to change. We couldn't survive with her family looming, and I didn't want our son exposed to them. She asked what I needed from her. I've never been big on ultimatums, and I don't really consider this one, but I was adamant that any path forward would mean radical boundaries with her family. She was honest that the thought of making such a big move against her family was scary, but said if it's between them and us/our son, she chooses us. Her agreement was huge for me because I really didn't know where she'd land if she had to choose. I never wanted to put her in that position, but after everything her family did, I feel there was no other way. The reason I have hope that my wife is being genuine is because she sent a text to their group chat, telling them to stop blowing up my phone and that the decision to cut off access to our son until further notice is a joint decision she fully supports. I didn't expect that from her. She did it on her own. Of course they didn't like it. Now she's labeled as disrespectful and ungrateful, and they're saying that her black sheep eldest sister and I are poisoning her against them. They also said, what kind of man takes a woman away from her family over a spat? This isn't a spat, nor do I have anything to prove about manhood. They led an entire campaign designed to ruin my life. Their actions are chilling to me. These are the same people who looked me in the eye with a straight face while everything was going on. This is about protecting my family. My wife has gone low contact. Her family has this mindset that significant others or friends come and go, and family is the constant and where loyalty should be. They can't seem to understand that my wife, our son, and I are the core family now. They're extended family, and they don't have a claim over our son. Being involved with him is a privilege, not a right. I don't know what their exact issue is with me. They only really tolerated me because of our son. When I first met them, one of my wife's siblings, 28 female, said they thought my wife was settling for me because of age and that she could do better. They're a very tight-knit group, and if one doesn't take to you, you're not getting far with the rest. It felt like once their minds were made up, there was nothing I could do. I've long since stopped trying to make sense of any of their reasoning. It's a rabbit hole. Our plan is to move to a new area, to create a healthier distance, cement boundaries, and have a fresh start. I also brought up therapy. It's something we've been discussing, and we'll be starting that soon. I think moving away will be beneficial for us. It's something my eldest sister-in-law advised us to do. During the wedding planning, she encouraged my wife to move and create our own space away from their family's isolating circle. I know my wife is more than just her family. I've seen it firsthand. She shines so bright when she's away from their influence. That's what I meant when I said she was the most loving, unselfish, and decent person I've ever met. If I'm being honest, I don't know how things will turn out. I'm still hurt, I still feel betrayed, and my wife is facing her own challenges with going low contact, but I want to be hopeful. I don't want to close the door. I'm hoping we can heal together. Thank you again to everyone for the support. I've found that not everything is as isolating as it is with the majority of my in-laws. It means more than you know. Dude, I wish you all the best. I hope your wife can keep the no/low contact. Thank you. It's much appreciated. I'm really hoping this can be a turning point. Her family crossed an unforgivable line. Cut them out of your life completely. You must forge your own path, and toxic people have no place in it. Wish you the best of luck. Even if it were forgivable, they'd have to express remorse for that to happen, and they never, ever will. Sorry, I can't get past the fact that your wife decided it was easier for you to suffer year after year, personally and professionally, at the hands of her family, rather than stand up to them or at least tell you earlier. Damn, sometimes it's hard to believe that some families raise their kids in a cult-like setting because they need that level of control. Gonna go call my folks and thank them for being normal, decent humans who never opened fraudulent credit cards in my name, ran off decent partners because they were on a power trip, and afforded me and my siblings the same love, attention, and opportunities growing up. This has been confirmed by said siblings. Last story, update. Am I wrong for questioning my whole relationship after I found out my boyfriend was pocketing my rent money? Original post. I've been with my boyfriend for 6 years now, 27 female and 30 male. He's a content creator and posts 2 to 3 times a year when certain products are released. I have a 9-to-5 job that is in my passion. I work from home about 35 hours a week, 40 on a hard week, and I have a side job related to my full-time job that takes about 10 to 15 hours a month. I love my job, although it can be stressful at times, but it's ultimately what I want to be doing. And I really don't think I overwork or prioritize it more than other things. I've always been super open about finances, but my boyfriend has not, which I respected and didn't push after some unpleasant conversations about finances. I thought as long as he had it together, I was okay with it. I recently found out that he is getting help from his parents on rent and his car payment. So, I'm the only one paying rent essentially, and he hasn't made a livable wage from his content creation since around COVID, which is why he needs the help. When he isn't making content, which he makes content about 3 weeks out of the year, he's doing whatever he wants all day long. We've been living together for 2 years now, and it's frustrating that he hasn't tried to find another source of income, and is okay just taking help from his parents. He's not a 9-to-5 type of person, and that's okay, but I would like him to do something. He said he never wants to be the person that work takes them away from their family or who prioritizes work over their family. Anyway, we live on a property my boyfriend's dad is renting. His mom and dad live in one house on the property, and we live in the other. When we moved in, he told us the rent was $1,600 for the house, so $800 each for my boyfriend and I. A steal, I know. However, I just found out that my boyfriend and his dad came to an agreement at the start of the lease last spring that his dad would pay our rent in full, and the money I give my boyfriend for rent, which I had presumed was being passed along to his dad, my boyfriend could keep. He said they wanted to help him out by paying his rent and his car while he lived there with them, so this was how they thought to do it. I immediately felt betrayed for not being informed about this, but I also felt it was a bit unethical because I wasn't aware of where my rent money was going. I had been suspicious for a while, but I finally got the courage to ask. He admitted it, and my stomach sank. His first reaction was to be mad at me for being upset. His point of view is that they didn't tell me because it's not my business, since I'm paying rent regardless. Therefore, if his dad wants to give him $800 a month for his car and also pay his rent to help him, this was just a less roundabout way of doing it. He said in essence, it isn't my money, since it's rent money, so I shouldn't care where it ends up. He also said his dad asked him to keep it between him and his parents, so he was put in a weird position. I can see how this might logically make sense, but I can't help but feel like I've been paying him $800 a month to pocket without my knowledge. I'm not upset about his parents helping him, that's between them, and I don't want my rent covered either. I'm grateful for the cheap rent and believe I should be paying rent. It's just the dishonesty and the fact that he has been transferring my rent money into his own account for a year without telling me that feels so wrong. We split everything else equally: groceries, utilities, internet, except for the occasional date night where he pays. I'm close with his family and frequently have them over for dinner, so it hurts that they all knew something I didn't. I have a full-time job and a side job. My boyfriend is self-employed but doesn't make much from it. I don't typically mind, but I would like us to be more open with each other about finances. I don't know how to move forward from this, even though I want to be understanding and kind to him because he says it's a nuanced situation and that I should know he isn't the type of person to steal from me. He's apologized for the dishonesty, but still doesn't see the issue. The relationship hasn't been perfect, but it has been worth staying in for 6 years. I just don't know how to get rid of this gut feeling that this situation doesn't sit right with me. Plus, rent was due yesterday, and I haven't paid him yet. Is this grounds for a breakup, or can we work through it? If so, how? Or is it truly none of my business? Any advice is so appreciated. Edit to add, we'd only lived in the house for about a year when I found out about the rent situation. We haven't lived here together the whole 6 years of the relationship. Now for the top advice before reading the update. He's a hobosexual. I dropped the rope on this one. I mean, I wish I didn't have to work or pay rent or bills, and I could do whatever I wanted all day. But I'm not a child or independently wealthy, so I can't. Your boyfriend is a silly person with whom you cannot build anything more functional or lasting than a sandcastle. Totally agree. So he wants him and OP to just live and never work, and live off his parents because, checks notes, 35 hours a week of work is too much and takes away from relationship and family time? Literally insane. He is 30 years old and living like he's 15 and in fantasy land. Before you knew this, would you have described your relationship as having no real secrets? Has it changed how you view him or your relationship as a whole? Consider this. If you were in a different rental agreement and his parents were helping him financially without being involved in the rent, and he didn't tell you, would you feel the same way? Do you feel like your relationship should be past the not sharing important information stage? Do you feel betrayed? Does his remorse match your feelings? These are good questions. I would say there were no real secrets before, but this has changed how I view the relationship as a whole, both with him and with his parents. After 6 years, I really felt like family, not a stranger. I don't think I'd feel the same way if my rent money wasn't involved. I do feel our relationship is past the stage of not sharing financial info. We've discussed marriage. I do feel betrayed. His remorse doesn't match my feelings. He's trying to brush it under the rug and move on because he doesn't see it as a big deal. Now for the update. I'm moving out. I got approved for an apartment this weekend, and I'm excited to have the space to gain my own perspective and clarity. We're staying together for now and we'll see how it goes when I move out. I think he's seeing it as an opportunity for me to regret moving out and come back to him, but I want it to be an opportunity for him to get his life together and build a life with me. I'm aware it's unlikely things will work out how I'm hoping, but I think whether we break up or stay together, moving out is my best next step. Thank you to everyone who gave advice and validated how I was feeling. It's a weird situation, and after a lot of therapy and thinking, I'm okay with the fact that I don't have to keep playing a game with rules I don't understand.